monoxide detection. And there's some fire alarms that are also needing to be done. We're including Brockbank this summer in the Brockbank remodel. While we're there, we're going to grab that. Benyon and Churchill Juniors are fire alarm replacement and ready to bid those here shortly. So a lot of work on those detection systems. And then just quickly on upcoming projects, Taylorsville High Auditorium House lighting replacement is to you as a board to look at. We were excited about that. It came in a little bit less than we were anticipating, so that's exciting on the bid. Kennedy Junior Auditorium sound upgrade. I've been told by Dave Vincent and Dale Pickin that that project is complete and the final tuning and owner training are scheduled for late April, which I believe has happened. So that's a nice one to check off the list. Kearns Junior Auditorium upgrade is scheduled to start the end of last month, April, and completion this month. So they're moving well there. And then Brockbank Junior Auditorium sound upgrade is planned for June, kind of along with the, and the materials have been ordered along with the other work we're doing at Brockbank this summer.
Quick questions.
Oh, go ahead. Yep.
So I noticed that Benyon, the curtains are down as well, the side curtains, and I wondered if the rest of them, I don't know, it's Kearns Junior, if they have the same problem with the rod pulling out of the ceiling.
Coming off the track or something?
Are they all down, and when is that going to be scheduled to be finished?
That is a good question, and I do not know the answer to that. We will check with the maintenance department tomorrow and find out.
Okay, thank you.
I was unaware of that, but yes, we will check on that. Brockbank Junior High Gymnasium upgrade is 90% complete and completed by late April. So good progress on all of those. Public safety radio boost antenna systems, Hunter High is in progress. Skyline and Cyprus will open this year with that system in place. Granger and Olympus are already completed, and the following schools are waiting to determine how we and where we land with the budget and figuring those out. Valley Crest security upgrade is ongoing. I've got a couple of slides here to show you, but the anticipated handover, it does say mid-May. We have a lighting delay on a couple of lights that we're waiting on, and the principal actually prefer to wait until school is out before they make the move over. So we've consented, and we'll wait until May, school is out, we'll move them over, and then finish the last phase this summer, which is the itinerant spaces. And we have a couple of slides here. The one on the left is looking into the office. The far door with the yellow ladder behind there is the new principal's office with the window into the front office you can see, and then the window to the outside. Of course, immediately to the left is the entryway that we will funnel all the outside traffic through the front office and then it can be buzzed into the school. The slide on the right is showing the shower. As we build these offices, there's a sick room component to it and a little stackable washer dryer shower space for any needs, and a restroom for any of those needs for those kiddos. And that's all that I have on those projects. Our dear friend is going to take the mic.
Okay. Board members, superintendent, and staff, grateful for the opportunity to be here. As you well know, Cyprus, we are heading into the end game, I believe is one way to put this. So there is a lot of work going on out there. A lot of the work on the exterior at the tennis court, the baseball and softball fields are really coming together. And we have been paving. The second the asphalt plants open back up, we've been paving nonstop out there. I would say the paving is probably 90% at this point, quite a bit done. And then every single area in the building, there is a lot of work going on. A lot of it is the flooring. Basketball graphics are in, as you'll see in some of the pictures. Some of the rest of the grid is finishing off in the athletics and the pool building. And then quite a bit of work is being done in terms of finishes in the administration commons. The kitchen equipment is all being put in right now. And we can go ahead and advance. You can see the top coat at the tennis courts. We've got the striping and stuff we need to do. The infield mix on the baseball field. The grass is coming back in nice and green. And the batting cages are being installed. So things are progressing very well. The snow melt system that goes out in front of the building was installed. We walked all over it. So a lot of these pictures, just always remember these are about 3 or 4 weeks behind just because of the nature of our reports and stuff. So the dance room floor is in. That asphalt picture, quite a bit of it is actually all complete at this point. The friendly skull and crossbones in the middle of the floor, it looks pretty amazing. The floor is pretty incredible. And what you can't see in this photo is the bleachers are all being installed right now. This last little bit of the athletics field house that they're talking about, that's really the front entryway. If you're familiar with the entryway at Skyline that we completed after the fact, that the rest of the drywall in athletics has been completed for months, probably even longer than that, but this is just the last little part of the front entryway. And our famous wood paneling tiles and stuff that are going all through the whole commons. The kitchen equipment is all installed now, and the rest of the flooring is being throughout the building. We've got several 100,000 square feet of flooring that's going down in all the hallways. You can see the picture on the right, and then the classrooms. Quite a few of the classroom wings right now, we're just finishing off the last bit of the electronics and stuff in preparation for the furniture to come. For those, we did have the tour with the teachers last Friday, which was very nice to have them come through the building to see their excitement at seeing the spaces. And this is the system that's unique at Cyprus with the retractable seating. So you actually have quite a bit of large multi-use space that you can use when you're not having a performance in there for drill team or other uses within the building. And then you can see the drone photo on the right. It is very much looking like a school and very much getting ready to move into the school. And that, Justin called it a move. On site, we're calling it a migration. They really got a good feel for what their classrooms are going to be like, and everything. And this Dallin and the other staff have been working incredibly hard to get all of this planned and this move planned and getting the furniture on site. So we don't have any changes to bring before the board on Cyprus. Any questions on Cyprus before I proceed to Skyline?
Looks great.
Okay, Skyline. Punch list, it's really not punch list at this point. It's like 99% warranty items, and we take off a dozen, and the nature being of warranty, we produce more than a few more. So many of them are just related to items that are being used every day. The teacher and communication devices and stuff like that are an ongoing thing. There has been a lot of inspections going on. Ashton has been on site daily working with the contractor. Fortunately, because of our relatively mild winter, all of our progress on the performing arts wing is moving very, very well. The concrete, you'll see some of the photos and stuff like that. 3 of the 4 remaining air handlers in place, and we all know where the last one is. It's sitting outside feeding Building G right now that will have to be dismantled next summer. But the other 3 air handler boxes are in. They're all, and the equipment's being installed. Quite a bit of the insulation, sheetrock and stuff. Building H, which is that last wing, if you recall at Cyprus, it sits next to the auditorium, and at Skyline, it sits behind it perpendicular. So quite a bit of that Building H is actually doing very well. We're actually prepping for painting now that we've got nice warm weather predicted for a while. Although Justin and I got pretty wet out in the cold yesterday afternoon. That may or may not be contributing to my nasally sound today when we're working with the city of Mill Creek on some of the replacement of the sidewalk out front. And windows are going in. We're going to get weather tight on that. We've got the roof on. We're finishing the roof on the large roof on the auditorium. We can go ahead and proceed to some of the photos. This was from April. Quite a bit more progress has been done on this. And the bigger piece that wasn't on our report is the preparation for some abatement of the interior of the existing auditorium this summer. The rest of those lovely exterior panels will wait until January, after they've had their final performances at the end of the fall semester, and then we will rapidly take down that auditorium, because that is where the new main driveway for the school comes all the way to the front door.
So will it be in October, the last performances, or will it be December?
Year end, it'll be December.
Yeah, we've worked, they'll get the full, through, till we break for Christmas, they get that space, and then we're going to work over Christmas and in January.
Okay.
Yes, so we can go ahead and proceed. A lot of site work is going on right now for the parking lot that is both on the east and on the west sides of the auditorium. And we're trying to get in as much of the underground infrastructure as we can. So the last piece of it is actually goes right through where the auditorium is. The old existing auditorium that has to be torn down, but over break, the hydrants and stuff and the tie-ins for the existing lines into the auditorium were completed. And the floor is being poured nonstop. We are pouring, I think Clint had, the site superintendent indicated we were nearly 2,000 yards of concrete over the last, averaging almost a month, which is 500 yards of concrete a week is a lot of concrete. So all the wing walls are being poured interior, now the footings and floors. This shows, this is all actually all decked and enclosed now. So that's been moving very, very well. And I don't think you could see it from here. I think you could see it from the aerial, the big S on the side. That last panel has been done. And so there's air handler 14, and a lot of the ductwork is actually already in progress. We have the boxes. Quite a few of the fans need to be done. Everybody's favorite fuzzy insulation on the ceiling has been completed actually in most of the areas. The bad insulation and the drywall are being done. And you can see in, like I said, in area H, it's really all the classrooms are really starting to look alike. Classrooms were getting them taped, and then the proscenium, major proscenium wall in the auditorium is taking shape quite a bit. You can stand on what will be the stage area and look out. And getting ready to paint the whole thing. The panels have turned out extremely well. It's always a little concerning when you're doing panels over the winter, but I think the quality has been very, very good with Ashton and Rob keeping close tabs on things. So, and the window frames are going in, and glazing will be later on this summer. So we're very pleased with the progress right now on the auditorium and remaining academic wing. We, as stated before, the only constraints we have is just getting that last air handler put back in the building the second school gets out. So, and we don't have any changes to bring before the board on Skyline. If there's any questions on that, or if that triggered anything from Cyprus, that I can help the board understand where we're at.
Any questions? Okay, great. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We're gonna have Ben Peters come up as soon as he's back. In the meantime, Michelle, how many days are left at the school? Just kidding. 18 days?
We don't talk that much.
Ish.
Sorry, my wife just called me. Our 1-year-old had a slip and fall. She's got
Oh.
black eye.
Oh,
All the fun stuff. Down in Paris. Down. Okay. Well, board members and superintendent, thank you for letting me be here.
do you want to pull that microphone right in front of you? I know it's
Yes, I
fun.
can do that. Board members and superintendent, thank you for letting me be here. Ben Peters, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the rebranding work that we're doing at Magna Elementary. So we'll just kind of go over a couple of surveys that we've done as a school and then with the district as well through the communications office, and then talk about what our community council has for some naming recommendations, okay? And please stop me if you have any questions along the way. Basically, what the whole point is to provide some recommendations for our school as we're working through this rebranding process and working through our reconstitution that we're doing in hiring a complete new staff and changing our school focus from a normal elementary school in our district to a STEAM school in our district to give kids in Magna a unique opportunity. So, in the original school survey that we did at the end of the fall, going into winter, we kind of had some bigger choices and just said, hey, community, current staff, students, what do you guys think of should be the name for our school as we're shifting this focus and we're doing this? The biggest ones that came out were Magna STEAM Elementary, Cyprus STEAM Elementary, Magna STEM Academy, Cyprus STEM Academy. We also asked what their input would be for a mascot. Bulldogs was the overwhelming mascot. People love bulldogs, which is great. I have a bulldog, so we can bring Hank to school and he can be the mascot. We got some great shots with all of our kindergarten students this year that they got to have their photo with a real live bulldog. That was kind of fun. The top two choices in looking over the results from the district survey were, and these were also the same from our community council, Magna STEAM Elementary and Cyprus STEAM Elementary were the top recommendations from the survey and from our community council. It was important to our community council during our community council meetings to keep the elementary part of the name because some of our community council felt that academy was like changing it into something the community maybe wasn't, and they worried, for lack of a better word, they were worried about it being snooty or something that like wasn't quite the fit that they were wanting. I talked with Stephen Powell to give us a couple of logo mock-ups, and these are going to look pretty similar to the current logos. If you look on here, you'll see that red bulldog with the M logo. He also did the C for Cyprus on there. In looking at the district survey, we asked them in that to the community to give some input on the colors for the school because the school has years and years of hard water stains along the outside of it, which kind of makes the brick graying and have that water stained look to it. So there were some choices between some gray or blue motifs for that. The blue was the number one choice. The gray was second on those, which is nice because it does fit in with the network scheme of Cyprus being that blue and yellow. My eyes were, and a lot of our community eyes were drawn to these bottom logos to change those colorings to blue and yellow. Questions about that?
My only comment is blue is so hard to see at night, and I don't know if that would be on your, advertising thing, but
Yeah.
I just don't like, I'm just saying me. I think they need to talk about how well it's seen at night.
Okay. Thanks, Connie.
I would point out the reason why we're looking at some blue options is because the redesign in the exterior on the new facade that's been kind of brought to the community and provided feedback on, and we worked with Chris as well for some additional feedback, is a gray exterior with some blue highlights in some STEM themes. So I think it would be weird to have a really red sign next to that new building with the redesigned exterior. So that's why we were looking at some blue options.
Well, and I think there was a lot of white
accents too, Connie. I think they kept white. There was some trim that was white still, and I want to say there was a graphic that had a lot of white in the front. So I think there's still some brightness to it. I don't think it's totally a drab blue.
Yeah.
So are they wanting the blue and yellow, not the blue and the gray?
On that, they were,
The bottom one?
yeah, the bottom ones were the ones that stood out.
So- Okay.
The blue and gray, again, was to match one of the exterior options that we provided to the community. So the next steps on this, only the board can change the name of a school. So while our board policy allows for the school to make suggestions to the mascot change, and the superintendent can authorize that, in order to change the name of the school officially, that requires board approval. So we wanted to present those options to you, have some discussion here very briefly, then we can bring this back on a future consent item once you guys have determined what you'd like to do. So with that in mind, I know that the term academy has been frowned upon by some members of that community, but the intent of this rebrand is to rebrand the school and to make it more attractive to some of our families that have left the school. And we actually have some data that shows that we have lost some families because they're going to academies, charter schools. And the idea is to bring in some programming and some pedagogical strategies that will help attract some of those families back to their neighborhood school and potentially peel those back from our competition, which is charter schools. So with that in mind, I think we would be remiss if we were not considering the word academy. Given the context, I can appreciate the community members' concerns, but I don't think anybody expects this to be a hoity-toity type of approach, but this is to really establish what type of educational opportunities we're doing here, as opposed to what the school was and what we hope it to be.
So I have a few comments. Thanks, Ben, for being here, and I appreciate you taking care of the surveys and getting the feedback from your community council. I have talked to other people who maybe aren't actually in the school right now, but maybe have left our area schools, and I don't see academy as being a negative thing. I see it as a positive, so I'm a little surprised that they see that as a negative. But again, I'm okay with if we go with elementary also. But I'm really leaning towards the Magna name, keeping the Magna name. And the reason why is I think we don't have any other schools in our area that say Magna on them. And so I lean towards the Magna STEAM Elementary or Academy. I think sounds really nice. Which Cyprus is great, but we have a Cyprus High, and that's, we don't need a Cyprus Junior or a Cyprus. I think I like the distinction between the three names. And also, I hope our community is recognizing that just changing the name doesn't make or break the school. So if it's elementary or academy, it's going to be what the parents really put into it and what their efforts are and what they encourage their kids to learn while they're at the school. So why the name is important and very important to the community, and we don't want to lose that. I also hope that they realize that their attitude and what happens in the school is what's more important. So, thanks, Ben.
Would there, say, Armstrong Academy, like, it's amazing how people view that just because it has academy on the end of it. And would the community be upset if we did consider doing Magna STEAM Academy? Is it like something they feel super strong about, or was it something like, nah, we'd prefer that?
Yeah, so I can say I've talked to a bunch of folks on my community council, like even in the last week and a half, of just saying, hey, what do you think about this? And I would say it's split in the sense of I'm okay with academy or I'm not. So I'm not sensing like a huge, like we're really upset about this if it went that way.
Okay, just wondering.
I was amazed when we said Armstrong Academy, whenever we did that, because of the positiveness, and even I live far from Magna or even from Armstrong, but the positiveness that came with that drew people from my area to Armstrong. So I think I like Academy too. I think it's good.
I just add maybe a slightly different viewpoint. I think when Armstrong Academy was named, it was unique. We now have Gerald Wright Academy, Magna Academy. At some point, Academy no longer becomes valuable when everybody is named Academy. To me, it's not as big a deal for that reason, and I support what the community, if the community wants it to be named elementary, I support what the community wants on that front, so that's just my perspective.
Did you like Magna or Cyprus better for the name?
On that one, I'm indifferent. I'll go either way, yeah.
If we named it Magna STEAM Academy Elementary. Just wondering.
I think we always talk about telling our story and how we need to tell our story better. And part of that comes in marketing and how we are putting what opportunities we are providing those kiddos out to our community. And hearing that the community is quite divided on academy or elementary, I feel like they're going to be okay either way. So for me, I'm over here going, yeah, we might have a few academies. And I hear that concern, Kim. Like, I think the more and more you get, it dilutes it a little bit. However, I think that Neil Armstrong is in the Granger network and the other one is in Hunter. Is that correct?
Gerald Wright's in Cyprus.
It is in Cyprus. So to have two in Cyprus, that's not a big deal to me because we don't have these academies east to west mountains. So my personal opinion, I would support Magna STEAM Academy. But thank you for answering the question on, a divided community, because I was paying attention to that as well. I don't want them up in arms if we vote for Academy, but I do think it's a great marketing opportunity to try and get, some of our kids back who have gone to academies or gone to charters. At the same time, we need to focus, if we're going to call it a STEAM Academy or a STEAM Elementary, regardless, we need to set up that school for success and make sure we're putting all the supports in to be a true STEAM school. So I think that's also important. We can market all we want, but we also need to make sure it's going to deliver what we promise.
Yeah, I agree. That's the bigger thing is how well we actually perform. That's what's going to draw people back, so.
Well, and I think, I agree, it's about marketing it and saying this is different. This is a different school. It's not just an elementary school, or even, the STEAM or STEM, there's a lot of elementaries or a lot of schools out there without the official certification that just call themselves STEM academies or STEM elementary, they're a STEM school. And setting this up as we have this specialty and we are, especially STEAM, I think is a very unique thing. And so I guess for that reason, I do lean more towards Academy to really set it up as this is something different. This is a different school, and it's something to, look at, set up and look at and pay attention to. So. Anyway.
And can you kind of just maybe speak to that, what you're doing to set them up for success in that?
Yeah, I'd be happy.
Because I know you're doing a lot of work, and it's a,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So some of the things that we're talking about, and with this reconstitution, right, is I spent a lot of the month of February outside of my school doing interviews. 1 week in February, I think we interviewed 54 people in 3 days to start filling these new staffing positions, and we asked everyone that's currently on my staff, if they would like to remain, that they reapply for their positions and interview for those positions as well. So we're just about done. I had a couple of positions that were up for postings closed this last week. We'll be interviewing for those in the next week, so that way we can fill those last 5 positions. But that's what we're doing there. Been working closely with curriculum to make sure that we have the BTS support to do the STEAM part of the program. and also working with curriculum to bring in some extra tools that will be unique to our school, like TeachFX and other things. Yeah.
We're very excited. We've got some additional PD and resources being brought in to kind of help to get the staff off on the right foot and build unity and build a quality culture here to address some of these challenges and concerns and make sure that we're actually backing up that academy name with some relevant quality educational opportunities. So we're very excited, and we feel like Ben is doing a great job in working through this. So what I'm hearing from the board is that the preference overall, so that we can put this on a consent future, is Magna STEAM Academy. We're not technically voting. I'm just looking for nods of heads, and if there's disagreement, we can discuss that offline. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben. All right, we have need of an executive session for the purpose of character and competence and negotiations, and as such, I will entertain a motion.
I move we enter executive session for the purpose of character and competence and negotiations.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to move into executive session for the purpose of character and competence and negotiation. So roll call vote. Please state your name and your vote. Kim, go ahead.
Kim Chandler, yes.
Connie Burgess, yes.
Chris Wynn, yes.
Karen Winder, yes?
Nicole McDermott, yes. Do we have anybody online? Not right now. No, okay, just want to make sure. All right, we will go ahead and